This is a race of 30 points. This is the Peugeot he drives, and this is the man, Laurent Aiello. 30 points in the lead. Can he hold on to it and win today? His 9 overall victories prove he can win, but will he be able to do it again? 30 points behind is a BMW driver. Jochen Winkelhock has pulled within 30 on this last race weekend of the season. There are 90 points up for grabs today. He could come from behind and take the title. But will he? 30, the big number today. This is the Super Touring Car Cup today, coming to you from the short course at the Nurburgring in Germany. Hi, everybody. This is Milt Fitzwater reporting. Welcome to the Nurburgring and the Super Touring Car Cup. An exciting title battle is on the slate today. 29 cars on the grid, ready to go, and a great crowd on hand to watch the racing. Laurent Aiello is on the pole in his Peugeot. It's the 8th time that he's taken a sprint pole. Now, he was somewhat surprised that he was able to sit on the pole.
Yes, a bit, because the circuit is normally not for us. The circuit is very short, and but we work a lot before coming here, and the car is good, and we will see for the race.
His teammate Jorg van Olmen is on the outside pole in his Peugeot. It's the 3rd time this season he's on the front row. He's looking for his first victory, but today he'll be out to play defender.
Yeah, but I think we have made the best base. So we have the Peugeot first line, and so I hope that I can help Laurent. But more, I hope that he do not need that help.
Starting 3rd, Michel Bartels in the Opel. It's his best start this season. And newcomer James Thompson from Great Britain put his Honda in 4th place. We'll have more on him in just a moment. The man chasing Aiello, Jochen Winkelhock in the BMW. He'll be starting 8th. He had problems in qualifying, but his mind was also on something else.
Absolutely. Because, you know, now in the last race, I must say, I think always more about the disqualification at Nurburgring, you know, and there I lost for sure 30 or 40 points. And so, okay, this disqualification, now I need the points for the final race, but okay, that's motorsport and we cannot repeat this race.
All through the weekend we have struggled to make the tires work, to get into temperatures, the same problem we had last year, and that's what has slowed us down not to be in the front of the grid. But the temperature is better today, so we still have a chance to be there.
There you get a look at the castle at the Nurburgring, the course. 1.8 miles long, the sprint 17 laps, the feature race today 33 laps. England's James Thompson is making his first start in the series. The 23-year-old is driving a Honda in the British Touring Cars Series. 4th place isn't a bad place to start.
Very pleasing. Nice to be on the second row. I'd like to have been on the front row, but you're never satisfied, are you? But
Thompson has been driving in the British Series 3 years. 2 years for Opel, 1 year for Honda. He can compare the British and German series.
it's a little different. A few of the things, obviously with having an hour qualifying, having more tyres and having to run different fuel loads, you can only really know what it's like when you've tried it. I think in hindsight we possibly could have gone a little bit faster had we run with less fuel on board, but we weren't quite sure how many laps we were going to need to do. So, you know, possibly a few improvements on, you know, if we came back next time, perhaps we'd be a little better, but you know, you never really know.
England's Steve Soper is returning to the German touring cars after spending a year at GT cars. He was second in this series last year, but his return hasn't been that easy.
Well, the transform is very difficult. It's a different technique, and I'm struggling to, after 1 year, to get back into it. And this shows with the lap times. Okay, we had a problem in the qualifying, but even so, I'm still struggling.
One championship has already been decided. BMW won the manufacturer's title.
For us as the manufacturer, this is even the more important title than the driver's title, because it shows that we have good drivers, we have a good product, we have done a very good teamwork, which was not always expected by the public. The problem for us is in this case that the driver's title is more published. So for sure, this is also very important.
And we're about to find out how that driver's title goes. 29 cars ready to go. Aiello in the yellow Peugeot on the right, his teammate Van Omen on the left. 16 cars within a second in qualifying. We're underway in the start. Let's see if Aiello gets a good start. He's had bad starts in the previous races, but it looks like he got off to a good one here. The BMWs, who have excellent starts because of their rear-wheel drive, were back 2 rows, so they weren't able to take advantage of it. And Aiello has the lead, and it looks like Van Omen, he does. His teammate is running second. So the man that needs to win today to put himself out way in front of the points is out in front. His teammate, who will hold off the rest of the field if he has to, is running second. Michel Bartels, who qualified 3rd in the Opel, is running 3rd. And then comes Johnny Ciccato and Jochen Winkelhock 5th, the 2 BMWs. Winkelhock has definitely got to get by Ciccato, who will let him by, I'm sure, here shortly, because Winkelhock simply has to get to the front. There's no question about it. Cars going off the course in the back. There on the left in the green, the Alfa Romeo of Modena. Stefano Modena, man, he's been the best driver all year long for Alfa Romeo, and starts off here in the last race weekend with difficulties. There you see Ciccato blinking off to the left. Now they're letting Winkelhock get by him, so Jochen Winkelhock is now running 4th. Winkelhock has to come to the front. He just can't afford not to. There go your leaders and the rest of the pack. So Winkelhock now has moved up to 4th. He's going to have to get by Michel Bartels if he can. And then he has Van Omen ahead of him, and that will be difficult. You know that Van Omen's task today is simply to be sure that no one comes near to Laurent Aiello, the man chasing the title in the Super Touring Car Cup. Here is the section of the course that connects the short course. They leave the main course. It's a sharp right-hander downhill. They come back onto the main course, and now what's become a chicane. They have to cut back around into the short segment, which takes them down the long straightaway. You can see part of the good crowd here. This long straightaway, cars getting up to over 145 miles an hour. There's a bend in the middle of it, but everybody takes it wide open. Then they come up into the chicane. Now the chicane they're using is the one the touring cars like. You can sail right through it over the curbs. There is another chicane at the same point used by the Formula One cars, which is much sharper to slow the cars down. So you have a double chicane right there at that key point in the track. Then they head back down the start-finish line. Bromberger's Alfa Romeo is being pushed off. Boy, he's had also a tough season. Another look at that collision in the beginning. It was Bromberger, it looks like, who spun, sending 3 cars wide, and Modena, the widest of all, goes off into the grass. There he is. He is back and running, but he is way back in the pack. Incidentally, a note on Bromberger, who we just saw a minute ago. He's thinking about running some NASCAR stock car events in Australia sometime this winter. That should be interesting for him. Laurent Aiello, your leader. Van Omen, Bartels, and Winkelhock. These are the cars that everyone's watching right now. Ciccato, running 5th, cannot play a part, at least not yet. He can't help his teammate because his teammate simply has to get up as far front as he possibly can. He's got to make up that 30 points. There's 30 points to win here in this first race. If Winkelhock can finish up there, he would have the 30 points and it would make things a little closer. But the question is going to be, can he do it? That is a question that nobody can answer right now, I'm sure. Great look at the course now, heading toward the short section. You're riding there with Aiello as he sails through the short section of the course, back out onto the main section of the course. He's flying. He is truly flying. And nobody's been able to keep up with him. Now you're with Winkelhock. Bartels ahead of him. You're heading down on that long straightaway. You get a good look at it here. There's a bend to the right. Everybody takes that wide open. And then it's uphill into the chicane. Aiello just keeps pulling away. The more he pulls away, the less chance for Winkelhock. Winkelhock will have a very, very difficult time catching it. He has to get by Bartels. That's all there is to it. If he can't, Aiello is away. A collision back in the pack. That was Nissen in the Audi colliding with another Audi of Niedzwitz. There's Michel Bartels and Jochen Winkelhock. Our cameras stay with Winkelhock because he has to move up. That's all there is to it. He cannot wait much longer. This first race is only 17 laps. He needs to get up as close to the front as he can. If Aiello were to pick up 30 points here and he were only to pick up 18 for fourth, there'd be a big deficit then. It might be one that he couldn't make up. We'll have to see. We're still a long way to go. We're halfway through. Another look from the front bumper. Heading around the curve toward the start-finish line. You see the hotel there on the left. Now you get a look at the low shot of the cars. BMW crew letting Winkelhock know where he is, and right behind him, oddly enough, is the Peugeot crew. They're right next to each other in the pits here. Winkelhock is right up on the bumper of Bartels. He knows he's got to get by. Where is he going to make the move? It has to come quick. Looks like he's going to try to make it here. Oh, does he brake late? And he gets inside and by. He had to do it, and he took it the hard way, and now Bartels wants it back, but he can't get it. Winkelhock got by him and is now running third. But it's a long way to go yet to catch up with at least a second place car, that being Jorg van Omen, and then Aiello. And Christian Menzel's car is parked. He was trying to come out of the pit lane. He evidently had some problems and he didn't get any further. Menzel, the fine rookie in the series this year. There's another look at that pass. He got on the brakes way late in order to get inside on Bartels. So there is your point leader, Aiello. Then Van Omen, then Winkelhock. Right now, everything depends on Winkelhock, and he is trying to make up all the time he can. He's using every bit of the curb. You saw there bouncing high coming around. Now we're into the short connector session where he made the pass. Winkelhock has had a great season. We talked about the disqualification here at the Nurburgring back at the beginning of the year. That was one of the very few low points of the season for Winkelhock. Otherwise, he has had a superb season, as has Aiello. Winkelhock has only had 2 did not finishes. They were here at the Nurburgring. He was disqualified, and then the car went out in the second. So those are the 2 zeros that he racked up this year. Otherwise, he's done fantastic, actually. He's had 2 sprint victories. He's had 3 feature wins, 5 victories overall. Very consistent finishes. And except for the one time when he had that DNF and started way in the back of the pack, he had a 25th place. That was his worst. But then when he's been running in every race, the worst he has finished is a 7th. So his season has been very consistent. He has been the man everybody has been watching. On the other hand, Aiello certainly is one that has just dominated the year. He had the points lead after the beginning of the season at Hockenheim. He lost it to Chicago at Zolder, and since then, he has had the points lead. But now everyone wonders if Jochen Winkelhock, one of the most popular drivers in the series, is he going to be able to make up the difference? Winkelhock, a very experienced driver, 36 years old. He's been in touring cars a number of years. They call him Smokin' Joe because he lights the tires up. And he's known to really push a car as hard as anybody. And if it comes necessary, he's not afraid to bump a few doors if he has to, although he'll be the first to tell you that's not what he wants to do, and he doesn't like to do it. But if somebody comes up and makes it rough on him, he can turn around and do the same thing. He doesn't mind doing it. Back in the pack, the cars sorting themselves out very nicely. You see the Hondas. James Thompson, who started off so well, has dropped back into 8th position. He had a bad start, and he's been sitting back. That's him right there coming through the corner right there in that Honda. That's Kurt Team in the Opel right behind him. So James Thompson, the 23-year-old, doing a great job here in his first event, bringing his car from the British Touring Car Championship into this one. The two regular Hondas that have been running the series are running behind him. So evidently the Thompson team is doing something certainly right here, as he's running very well. Did not have a good start, so he's back a little bit. And maybe someone we might see next year in the series. You never know. There's Aiello out in front. You're watching back in the pack here as Kurt Team tries to take on James Thompson. Looking ahead to next year, Opel has already said they're going to have 4 cars. They've also said that Manuel Reuter, Uwe Alsen, and Burgstaller will be the 3 drivers so far. Burgstaller had that terrible accident at Nurburgring. Opel has stuck with him and will give him another season. They just have to come up with the 4th driver. So a lot of the other Opel drivers in the field today certainly are battling to put on a good show so that they get that slot next year. And Kurt Team is certainly one of them. Team was an interesting story. He came into the series late, in fact, about 2 days before the race. Klaus Ludwig gave up his ride, and Team stepped in, and the first time he was in the car was the day he went out to practice. And he had been coming from the touring cars of the International Series the year before, which were 2.5-liter engines. They had ABS and all the other good things and tricks. He steps into this one, and it's a totally different feel. Looking back a little bit further in the pack, you're looking at Christian Abt behind. Right there is Abt in the top team that has been the private team all year long. At one point this season, they were running ahead of the factory Audis, but right now everyone else is caught up. Ahead of him, Sascha Maassen in the Nissan. Nissan certainly having their problems, but Arnold Simpson, the team manager, has said all along they're not going to bring out the 97 car. They're going to jump right into the 98. They're using the 96 as a development car. Look at the battle here between Abt and Maassen. Some tough competition, but this is back in the pack, but it certainly shows you what's going on. Is Nissan, of course, looking for next year. They've announced that they'll have the same team. The Rosberg team will put their car on the track with the new one, so it should be interesting. There once again from Denmark, Kurt Team. It's been an international year in the Super Touring Car Cup. Today there are 18 Germans in the field, 3 Italians, 2 Frenchmen, 2 Danish drivers, 1 Venezuelan, and 2 from Great Britain. So for a German championship, not bad with this international field of drivers. And when you get down and you look at it, it's actually some fine mix here. There's Jochen Winkelhock. You're riding with him. He knows what he has to do, and he's doing his best to try to catch up, but he had to get by Bartels, and now he's running 3rd. But you get to see Winkelhock at work on a Sunday afternoon. Laurent Aiello, the man out in front, very calm. He can be very humorous. He has a very infectious smile, but a very intense competitor. Johnny Cecotto now is pulling up on Michel Bartels. This is the battle for 4th place. Cecotto is 3rd in the points this season. At one time, it looked like he might be the driver who was going to be the one that the BMW would be counting on to go for the championship. But it turned out to be Winkelhock after he came on so strong. Aiello has passed Chris Nissen in the Audi. There was not a change in cars there. Cecotto's had a good year. He's had 2 sprint victories. He's had a feature victory. He's only had 1 did not finish, but he had a couple of races where he finished behind Winkelhock, and Winkelhock picked up points. Winkelhock went on to win more races. There you see 2 of the Audis. Pirro, the second in picture there, with the gray mirrors, the defending champion in the series, is driving a front-wheel drive Audi after taking the title in a 4-wheel drive last year. He started the season in the 4-wheel drive, And then in the last couple of races, they've been working on the two-wheel because that's what they're going to have to run next year, the front-wheel drive. Behind him is Peter from Austria, actually his teammate. He and Pirro had a great race in Zweibrücken. When Pirro won, the only race Audi won, in fact, the only race that was not won by Peugeot and BMW. That day, the tires and the four-wheel drive certainly helped because the track broke up and the four-wheel drive helped out. It looks like that man right there, Laurent Aiello, doesn't need any help whatsoever. Amazing. He has just simply put his foot to the floor and left everybody behind. You get a great look here as we head into the short segment toward the long straightaway. Aiello looks like he's got the 30 points for the victory here, unless something happens to the car. Look at the distance he has. That is a lap car that's behind him, not even his teammate. Laurent is simply pulling away. Nobody is close. Christian Menzel in the pits. They've been working on his car. He comes back out. He had such a great race in Lahr to help out Winkelhock stay in the points race. There is Nissen. They're going by also Tamara Vidali in the Audi, as that is on the left of your screen at that moment, and that yellow Peugeot is Van Omen. So they're going by lap cars right now. Johnny Cicotto has not been able to move up on Michel Bartels as yet. And you know Bartels wants to finish well here. He's looking for that slot that's going to be open with the Opel Factory team next year. Actually, it's been a great field of cars all season long. Today there were 8 Audis starting, 4 BMWs, 2 Peugeots, 3 Hondas, 6 Alfa Romeos, and 4 Opels. So it's a good mix of drivers and manufacturers. And back in the pack, everyone is looking toward the best finish possible as they look toward next year already. And here you get a look at some of them right here. Roland Asch comes by in the Nissan. So it's the Nissan of Asch, then comes Pirro, and then comes Philipp Peter behind him. Roland Asch has been a driver for years here in Germany, very popular with all the fans. He's driven just about every type of car, and this year he's driving a car that definitely is not as competitive as he or the team would like it. So it's actually, he's going through a complete development year, which is not that easy for any driver. Yvan Moulier from France, who drives the Audi, was only the Audi with front-wheel drive this season, and boy, they had to work on that car. He had his share of problems working as an experimental driver during the season. And then all of a sudden it starts to qualify, and right now he's up there as the best Audi. He's doing extremely well, running in what would be 7th place right now. But the rest of the Audi crew is right there coming up from behind. There goes Marco Werner in one of the Hondas that has been running the season all year long in this Cup. There you see the crew from Peugeot. They don't seem to be nervous. They know the car is running right. It's a matter of luck now. Looking quickly in that back, the next to last car in that group is Manuel Reuter. And the Opel, there is Gabriele Raffanelli. He prepares the cars for both Winkelhock and Cicotto. They certainly do not seem to have the car that Aiello has today. Aiello is simply dominating. And after he got off to such a great start, he's been tough to beat. A couple of races this season that Winkelhock won, or at least got out in front and made difficult, particularly in Lahr, he took the lead, and he took it from the second row simply because the Peugeot just did not have enough to get away from the line quickly from a standing start. So evidently the French team has certainly worked on that with this last race in mind. And at least in the sprint here today, Aiello pulled right away, and look at the dominance. It's amazing how he's running. He's just superior. And he takes The first race of the day at the Nurburgring. Laurent Aiello picks up the 30 points and now looks like a 10-point lead over Winkelhock with the feature race ahead. So Winkelhock sitting in third place. There's your results. Bartels held on to fourth. Look at that. And Moulier's the best Audi, coming in seventh. But the day belongs to Aiello.
No, the car was really good and the start wasn't too bad, so it was a perfect plan. I hope it will be the same with two BMWs in my back. I don't know. I hope it will be fair, and we will see.
So the BMW crew goes to work to get Winkelhock's car ready. He knows what he has to do.
Yeah, this was my target, but I'm happy with this. To be third in the grid now for the main race, because I did not expect to be third in the race, really. And so far, I think it was the maximum for me and for Johnny to be third and fifth, yeah. But now we see.
So now the crews go to work to get the cars ready for the feature race coming up, and while they do that, that gives us a chance to take a look at some of the top drivers this season. BMW driver Christian Menzel is certainly Rookie of the Year, finished 15 of 18 races. His best finish was fifth.
We are very lucky with the development of Christian Menzel, and Christian was able to help Joe in some races, which was very good. Christian has done a quite surprising development because today it will be his 11th touring car race, and he's a very good driver.
Michelin has taken the unofficial tire title, collecting 9 sprint wins and 8 feature wins. They had BMW and Peugeot's banner all the way through the season. Audi driver Chris Nissen is the top independent driver. He's 7th in the points right now. He's finished all 18 races.
I am personally very happy with the season so far. We have been struggling in the last races to qualify well, but we have been going very strong in the races, especially in the long race. It seems that the Audi Quattro still has an advantage on tire wear, which means that we can go from the beginning to the end more or less good times, and the front-wheel drives go very, very fast in the beginning and slow at the end.
When the season started, it seemed the apt Audi team wouldn't stand a chance against the factories. He hadn't expected to do quite this well.
I had hoped to manage this year top 10 in the final position, but it's always difficult to say in advance. We had a new tire partner, Yokohama, and last year we were running on another mark, and we've been working very hard at the beginning of the year, and it seems that the work was good because we have had good positions, good points. Also, you must be very fair to say that the team has done a good job.
This also marks the end of an era, the Audi Quattro era. This is the last weekend you'll see the Quattro on the track.
For sure the last season was something very special because the 7 victories in the 7 countries is something that nobody could do before, so it was really something special. And we've been working very hard last season for every additional one, because after 5 we said now there is the only chance to do it, you will never ever have it again. So we really put a lot of work into the last 3 months last year of the season to be there where we had ended up. That means the 7 championships. So this was something very special, and I have to say that to win the German one after trying it several times and always losing in the final, it was from the point of emotion something very special when Emanuele could win his race in Berlin, and then more or less the championship was secured.
It's such a wonderful car to drive, so easy, so well balanced. I feel really sorry to be obliged to leave this Quattro concept, but that's the way motorsport is, and we have to accept. Personally, I really think it's not correct, and I really feel very, very bad about it. But there's nothing we can do. We have to work with the front-wheel driven car, which is a car more difficult to drive, not as nice, but that's how it is, and we have got to accept it.
You can see part of the great crowd that's here on hand today, and they were entertained, at least in some of the garage area, by this group. So we're ready to go. The feature race here at the Nurburgring before a crowd for the weekend of 67,000 fans. Once again, Aiello on the right, Van Omen on the left. Let's see if they can get their second start in a row. Look right behind them. There on the right is the BMW of Winkelhock. He did not get away as well as Aiello did. He does get past Van Omen, it looks like. Let's find out. We're headed toward the right-hander, the key, and the two BMWs certainly did get by Jorg Van Omen, but did not make it with Aiello, and that is a bad sign for BMW. If the car runs in the second race like it ran in the first one, it could be a long afternoon for BMW fans. Let's wait and see. Into the short section that connects the longer course and makes it the short course. Aiello already out in front, and he's got a little breathing room already. Amazing how the Peugeot is running here. Another look at the crowd. Plenty of BMW and Peugeot fans and the Audi fans. The flags here is a big business. Everybody has one to wave or shirts to wear. Look at that. Aiello, that car is just simply running. They had to change some works on that car right before the start here of the feature race. You wouldn't know anything had been wrong. Amazing. Everybody else has sorted themselves out very well. Long afternoon now, 33 laps here on this short course at the Nurburgring. Short being 3.0 kilometers or 1.8 miles. And Aiello has lengthened the lead. Can you believe that? Amazing. He is out in front and pulling away. And we're just started. He had had such a bad day the last race weekend in Lahr when some people felt he overdrove the car and was certainly rough on some other drivers coming through, and the car finally gave up the ghost with a lap to go. The car from Ballmeyer, the Alfa Romeo, is off and out. And when he walked back to the pits in Lahr, he was a disappointed young man. 28-year-old driver who thought he might have lost the title because they've never done well here before. Chris Nissen has problems and goes off in the first corner but keeps it going, so he'll be able to get out of the gravel anyway. There he is. Not exactly sure what happened, but he's got to keep it going to get through the gravel. As you can see, everyone has sorted themselves out well, but now Joachim Winkelhock is just going to have to keep pushing. He's got Cecotto behind him, so Cecotto can serve as the blocker against Van Omen. Jorg had been up front, running second. He had not the best start. The Peugeots have had problems with starts all season long, but Aiello got off the good one here. And that is what the BMW team feared. Gabriele Raffinelli had said that if the BMWs can get out in front, they're going to be very, very difficult to pass, but they're not out in front. They're way behind. Another car going off the course, one of the Opels, through the gravel. Get a good look at the layout here at the Nurburgring with its Grand Prix course. They're expanding things here, actually. They're putting up new buildings. They want to make a racing experience Nurburgring, a place for entertainment and all kinds of things dealing with sports, motorsports in particular. You can see Van Omen has part of his exhaust hanging down. Van Omen's car with a problem, that exhaust hanging down behind. Bartels also did not get the best of starts. He's behind Van Omen. And running right now behind Bartels is Yvan Mouillet in the Audi, and then James Thompson. How about that? The Honda driver from England making his first appearance is running 7th right now. Doing a great job. In fact, he is leading the other two. The other two Hondas are running, right, what I have down now is 9th and 10th, and between them is the Opel of Kurt Team. So Honda actually is putting on a great performance here with all three cars running up in the top 10. How about that? There's Bartels. Then comes Mouillet in the front wheel drive Audi. About halfway through the season, actually it started about the Sachsenring, things started to get better for Moliere. He was saying, well, you know, it's very, very difficult to be a test driver knowing that the car is not going to run up front immediately. And then when things started to go better, when he was qualifying up in the second, third, and fourth rows, you could see a change in his attitude and a change in his face, a lot more smiles than there were before. He's looking for victory, of course, but unless something drastic happened here, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Van Omen, also coming from the International Touring Car Championship last year, stepped into the Peugeot ride, and he admitted that they had some time to change. It was very difficult for him to get used to front-wheel drive, no ABS systems, none of the traction control, nothing. And of course, the cars are 2 liters, and he had been driving 2.5 liters, a lot of changes. But he's made it well, and he's been up in the points all season long, very respectably, so it's nothing to be ashamed of. He's had a teammate who has been so strong and so dominant that he has been out in front. And here at the end of the season, Van Omen has had to play defender, basically. He's running 6th in the points right now, Van Omen is. So he's not done well, considering that he took some time to get there. Consultation flag. Probably for Van Omen. We couldn't see the number. The exhaust pipe hanging down, or it could be for Vidali. Look at that, the bumper on the back of her car goes off. She was going by Christian Danner there, so Tamara Vidali in the Audi with a bumper hanging off, so maybe it was for her this time. We'll have to wait and see. Here once again with Joachim Winkelhock in his BMW, heading back toward the start-finish line. Long right-hander. You look at Jochen at work. The one thing about Jochen Winkelhock that the reporters like is he could have had the worst day of his life and have been a miserable finish. The car could have had all kinds of problems back to the Nurburgring when he was disqualified, but he will always come up and give you a comment afterwards. He'll give you the interviews, give you what you need. It's amazing how he can compose himself after sometimes having some of the difficulties that he's had. Looking back in the pack, there is Christian Abt, and going off a little wide in the chicane is Sascha Maassen. Through the gravel, over the grass, on what we'll call the touring car chicane. It's called the Vidal chicane, but there are 2 versions of it, as we said earlier. There's Joachim Winkelhock, followed by Cicotto, then Van Omen. Van Omen has not gone in, so evidently the black flag then was, the consultation flag was for Vidali. We also understand that Uwe Alsen has received a warning. We're not sure what the problem is or why, but he's way back in the field. Uwe, who's also had a great year, the top Opel driver this season, is way back in the pack. It's unusual for him. He's been up in the top 5 most of the year, last half of the year anyway. Now he's way back, and evidently something wrong with the car. With Aiello taking such a lead, the battle right now is back in the pack. There's Laurent Aiello, the points leader, sitting on a 40-point lead. He could afford to finish 10th. And Winkelhock, if Winkelhock won and Aiello finished 10th, he would win the title. That's how things have changed thanks to his winning the first race of the day in the sprint, and Winkelhock coming in 3rd. Vidali is also not in, so maybe the flag then was strictly for Alsen. Nissen and Vidali in the corners. And Vidali letting Nissen know she wants to get by. There you see the 2 Hondas that have been together all season, Alfred Hager and Marco Werner. Werner probably has had the better of the season of the 2. They've qualified well a couple of times and finished in the top 10, but it has not been the season that they had expected, of course. Uwe Alsen bringing his car in. Very disappointed young man, 29 years old, but what a great future in touring cars he has. He has been tough this season, put on some great drives. There's Kurt Team. You saw him at the bottom of your screen as we look back up toward the front. Van Omen still running fourth. Winkelhock has pulled away from Cicotto and Van Omen. So you have a pack back there. Running third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. That is quite tight. There goes Cicotto. Here they come again. Cicotto, then Van Omen, and then Bartels, and behind them is Ivan Moulier. They go through the short connector piece here at the Nurburgring. Look at the crowd back there. This really an amazing and a very festive crowd. There was a pretty good crowd in the end yesterday as they went into the qualifying. Last race of the season in the Super Touring Car Cup. They're already looking ahead to next year. In fact, they want to run here at the Nurburgring, but they want to run one race on the original course, 14 miles per lap. Actually, it's a little longer now. It's one of the toughest courses, one of the most beautiful courses in the world. Touring cars ran it several years ago when the German Touring Car Championship ran it, but those cars, quite frankly, became a little bit too fast for the circuit. And so these cars would still be able to handle it safely. There are some places that have been totally revamped on the long course, but still it gets a little bit hairy in a couple of others. There you see the battle between Pirot and Reuter. Pirot, the defending champion in this series, and Reuter coming into the series as defending International Touring Car Championship champion. So you have two champions from last year battling it out, but they're farther back in the pack than I'm sure that they want to be. Pirot right now, according to our stats, is running right around 13th. He's already looking ahead to next year and hoping that things will certainly go better when they get the time to work on the front wheel drive. Of course, no plans except for Opel have been made official for next year. Well, Nissan has said they'll be back with the Rosberg team with two cars at least. So you know those are back, but no announcements yet much from the other teams as to what they're going to do. It'll be interesting to see what Honda does since James Thompson has done so well with a car that's prepared in England. Interesting to see if they come through. Christian Donner up on two wheels through the chicane. He got into that chicane tight. Here comes Danny File. He isn't quite as violent about it. So now we pick up the action with 4 laps to go. The leaders have not changed at all. In fact, Aiello has just dominated. No one is going to catch him. His lead has expanded to over 10 seconds over Jochen Winkelhock. So all Winkelhock can hope is that Aiello falls out. But he's going to have to fall out quickly in order to fall back far enough that Winkelhock could get the number of points he needs. Winkelhock has to win. And then through the point system, oddly enough, if it went back to the fact that Aiello would finish 11th, they would actually be tied in points. And then it would go to feature wins. And then because of the way the competition is set up there, it would be Winkelhock who would win, oddly enough. But that's just speculation right now. Jörg Van Omen being challenged by Christian Donner in the Alfa Romeo as they're going by him. Donner not letting up. Bartels also is trying to get by Donner, who is running back in the pack actually. There's Danny File, the Alfa driver we saw following Donner on his two-wheel stint through the chicane. The Engsler team presented the Alfa Romeos this year. You can see Aiello on 3 wheels through the chicane. And they certainly had their share of problems. The car has definitely not been competitive. He had 3 cars, 4 cars at a time entered in the field. And they're hoping that Alfa Romeo will decide that they want to come back into the touring car scene after stepping out of it last year. after the International Touring Car Championship. Once again, a look at Jochen Winkelhock and his BMW, whose only hope now is that something goes wrong with Aiello's Peugeot. Otherwise, he'll be runner-up in the championship. And Philip Pater has a problem. He's heading right to the pits. Looks like he might have cut a tire or has some metal running against the tire. And right with just a couple of laps to go. What a shame. Well, the day belongs certainly to Laurent Aiello. We really don't want to jinx him, but the way that car is running, it's amazing. There is James Thompson, who's put on a great show. There's Pater's car. He is in the pits. We'll see if they can get it at least back out. The Austrian driver certainly probably had hoped for a better season this year, but who knows about next year. Jochen Winkelhock, time running out for him. Philip Pater is out, and there is Aiello. Started racing in karts in 1981. He's worked his way up into touring cars. In France, he won there. He's on the verge of winning here in Germany. In France, he won the title in 1994. And he is just running smoothly. It's amazing. Nothing has bothered that car at all today. It has run like a gem. They made one small repair between races, and that was it. And he has just been smooth, consistent. And when he needed to, he put a little distance between himself and Winkelhock, and then he has been running ever since. And now he's headed for the title. And here he comes, your winner and your new champion in the Super Touring Car Cup, Laurent Aiello. A happy young man. He goes by his crew, and the Peugeot fans can celebrate. And so can he.
Yeah, I think I don't realize at the moment that I won the German championship, but I tell you, I'm very proud for the team. They've made a very, very good job. That was very hard between the last race and now. There was a lot of pressure, and we keep cool, and we work very well between the two races, and we were very, very strong here in Nurburgring.
The one thing that stood out today is the biggest change was the fact you did have some excellent starts, no problems.
Yes, I think that was the change. I mean, it's very good to make pole position, but if you're not able to stay on the first position on the first corner, it makes no sense to make it. So we try hard between the two races. It was not so easy because we've made different big changes into the clutch and different strategy into the car. And we didn't had so many time to test those different things. And I had, just before I came here, I had three very good starts in Paris. And I didn't know if I will be able to make this here for the race, so I was a little bit afraid.
Here's what happened at the end of the race. You can see where Winkelhock came up and gave a friendly tap to Aiello. Winkelhock second in the title.
I'm fine. Really, I had, there was no pressure also from BMW because we had a really good season so far. And I was always, sometimes I'm too much pessimistic in such things, but I'm really happy to be second because myself and also the team Bigazzi and BMW that did really the maximum in preparing the cars, and this is why I'm happy to be second, really. And big compliment, of course, to Peugeot. They was brilliant this year, but next year I hope we try again.
All right, you get a chance to rest now. What are you going to do? Sit back and do nothing for a while?
No. I have a lot to do for BMW, for some press days, autograph hours, and maybe in Far East. I hope in Macau we have another race. So to rest for 3-4 months, it's not possible. Then I get nervous. I need a car.
And so as the cars are packed up here at the Nurburgring, everyone else looks ahead to next year.
It was a very good season. We had 30% of increase in spectators, television coverage, and also media coverage. We had a very sporty season, and I think at the end the right team and the right man did win the championship.
When you look ahead to next year, you got a schedule in mind already? Things look very good.
Yes, we have pretty much everything under control for next year. We are going to have 11 races. This year we had 10 races. We are going to leave the Grand Prix calendar. This year we had always the races at Grand Prix dates. Next year we are between the Grand Prix dates. And also very important for us, the television coverage for next year. We have 2 hours live television coverage for the next season, each race.
And so that does it for our coverage of the Super Touring Car Cup here in Germany. This is Milt Fitzwater reporting. We thank you for watching us throughout the season, and let's hope that we're back doing it again next year. Thanks for watching.